Hey there folks, welcome to K6 Outdoors. I am your host, Kyle. If this is you guys' first time stopping in, welcome to the channel. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your loyal following. I greatly appreciate that. And if you are new to the channel, I'd encourage you to hit that subscribe button and follow along. We'll cover more content like this in the future. So, you guys clicked on this video, you're probably interested in something like what's sticking above my head here. Talking about different types of electric heat in your shop, garage, man cave, woman cave, she shed, he shed, thee shed, they shed. You're looking for some type of option for making your space warmer. I mean, for Pete's sake, it's December here in Iowa, not to age this video, but it's cold. It's currently 20 degrees outside and falling. I think tonight we're talking lows in 10 degrees or so. I am currently in my man cave, shop, he shed, and place where I put all this random stuff and record these videos for you guys. Currently, I have this unit set to 50 degrees, keeping the shop warm. I like 50, 55, honestly. I don't mind working in a sweatshirt. I don't like sweating. Once I start getting that stuff dripping down my eyebrow here or the back of my knee, I start getting frustrated and start thinking, why does everything gotta be so hard? Because I get hot. Oh, sorry. I gotta come down a notch there. Anyways, in this video, we're gonna talk about a couple of different units that use electricity. I have a King Electric Eco 2S Plus. And no, this video is not sponsored by anybody, but in the past, King Electric did provide this heater for me. I bought the first one myself. They liked the content I created and said, hey, White, can we send you the newest, latest, and greatest version to try out? Sure, why not? But we are also going to be going over to a fellow YouTuber's house, Michael in the Backyard, in Michael's Backyard Marina. He's kind of got two different channels there covering various things, but he also has a heated shop, man cave, whatever you want to call it, place where you can get things done. I'm not going to cover this heater too much in specifics. I will put some links above here and down below for those videos specifically. I've had this unit now for 3 years, and I've been heating my entire garage for about 5 years using electric heat. And to be honest with you, I couldn't be happier. So just a few things in general about the different types of electric heat you can use. This specific style of heater is an induction style heater where basically you're heating up a coil inside of the heater and using a fan and blowing the heat out of the unit. Basically turning 100% of the power you put into the unit into heat. Make sense? That's about as simple as it gets. This specific unit's a little unique in the fact that it's got an eco controller built into it where it automatically goes between high and low modes to use the power in the most efficient way possible, running in low mode when you don't need as much BTU output, and in high mode when you're trying to bring the room temperature up quickly. I had this connected to my EcoBeast. So in the house, I went up to the app, beep, 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 50 degrees, come out here and it's warm. It's done. There's gonna be some other things we'll talk about in this video as well. When we head to his house, he does have a cheaper version of a heater from Dynaglow, and he's used it for many years too, but it's a louder unit. It's having some probably more premature issues than other ones do. I mean, you could maybe make an argument it's the low end electric heater versus this is from King Electric is considered a higher industrial model. And there's other various things that are different, but we're not going to go into that far detail. Just want to show you guys a couple of different options and maybe things for you guys to consider along the route. So let's head over to his place, check out what he's got going on, take a look at his 2 units. He has a Mr. Cool mini split he just recently installed. In my opinion, they're kind of the cat's meow when it comes to being able to condition your space in general. Between heating and cooling, that's kind of what they do really well. Obviously, one disadvantage for mini splits is once it gets getting colder out, the actual efficiency of the unit starts to drop. And when you get to a certain point below zero, they basically don't make any heat at all because they don't have they can't get the heat out of the air. It's a heat pump style unit. That's why these are nice, because it doesn't matter how cold it is outside, it's gonna work as long as you have power. So let's drop over to his house and see what he has going on. All right, folks, we made our way over to the Backyard Marina, or I guess depending upon which hat Michael's wearing that day, it could be Michael in the backyard as well. So what we're gonna do today, folks, is Michael recently upgraded to a mini split from Mr. Cool, which I'm standing right in front of now enjoying the nice heat on, although it is 60 degrees in the shop. But he has for the last, how many years have you had the Dynaglow?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Yep. So he had the Dynaglow heater. You can find this at a lot of your local big box stores. Did you get yours at?
I think it was from Menards.
Menards.
Yeah.
He's been heating his shop. He has a 24 by 30 shop. It's a variable pitched roof, basically. It goes taller front to back. But the moral of the story, he's been heating this shop with around 60 degrees, somewhere around that area.
Yeah. 50 right now, 60 degrees. When I was running that dude, I was only running it like 45 to 50, and then I'd crank it up when I came out here because it draws a lot of juice.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at, folks, is we're going to talk through a couple of different options today. We came over from my place where I was showing you guys a little bit in detail of the King electric heater I have. I would say it's probably more on the premium end of electric heaters when referring to things like the Dynaglow. I was going to call it the Dynapro, but the Dynaglow heater. I believe these smaller units are made in China. The King electric heater is built in the U.S. with worldwide components. Like anything else, a lot of stuff is not sourced to a singular location anymore, so you kind of have to deal with the worldwide distribution map.
You've had yours in your shop for how long?
I've had mine for 5 seasons.
5 seasons? So, and 5 seasons later, yours still sounds, this one sounds like it's got a rod knocking in the engine.
Yeah.
And yours doesn't. It's that $750 makes.
Exactly, right. You would assume there's something you're getting different with the price. You're not just paying more for less. That's the assumption, but you never really know.
Right on.
So because Michael brought it up, I'm going to bring you up here, and we're going to look at the Dynaglow a little more in detail. I guess, I don't know if it's detail is the word for it, but it currently is off. If it were on, you would be able to tell because the way that it is and the sound it puts out.
Want me to kick it on, boss?
Sure, go ahead and turn it on.
All right. Hold your eardrums. It's going to get loud in here.
Wait for the large bam.
So the big 220 volt breaker goes pop. There you go.
As the jet engine spools up, you have to get all those fan turbines in there moving. While that's running here, hopefully you guys can hear me over the sound, so maybe that's something you guys can experience a little bit. On the front of the heater here, on the bottom right side, the actual stages, whether it's running in high or low, there's a thermostat in the middle, and on the left side, there's the power, and then there's a warning sign. I'm guessing that's for if something goes wrong.
Notice I have it on the 5,000 watt right now instead of the 7,500.
So he's trying to run in eco mode, but he's trying to tell you. So yeah, just switching that switch over runs into the higher power band, which makes a little bit more noise actually.
Yeah, it bared down.
It bared down. He just moved this out. He's doing some reorganization.
Yeah.
He was gracious enough to let me come over and do some of this videoing today. Try to get you guys some stuff to understand. This is actually hooked up to a remote thermostat today that runs back to it. You can run either or, but right now he's using a remote thermostat. So we're going to turn it down so we can hear each other talk, and then we'll get back onto the Mr. Cool heater. Well, since the jet engine finally turned off, we're going to go ahead and pivot right over here to the Mr. Cool unit. I actually helped him do a little bit of the install a week or so ago when he put this in. The boss, his wife, helped him get the head unit up here, but we did the outside work when it was cold. What's interesting as we pivot from this unit to this unit is that this never shut off the entire time. It's actually currently running. So
you basically can't hear it.
You can't hear it. I mean, you can feel, I'm about 6 feet away and you can feel the heat coming out of it. Maybe you can hear the little bit of wind noise on my microphone, maybe not. I don't have the dead cat on it, but it really isn't, it's really quiet. And this is running in, I would say, what is they call the eco mode, Michael? Is that right?
Well, it's auto.
Auto.
I got it at 70 degrees set in auto. I haven't even switched it to eco mode.
Yeah. So let me grab the remote. So the point of today's video really is to give you guys some other people's feedback other than my own. Michael's been using electricity to heat his shop for some time now, whether it be this Dynaglow unit or this heat pump style Mr. Cool unit. What I was going to get the remote for to show you guys is that it's running in auto mode now, but there is a lot of functionality built in the controller. All of this with this specific unit is also can be controlled with your smartphone. But what's interesting is if you really feel like you want to get some, more warm air and bring the temperature up in here, there's a button on here called turbo. And if you click that, it will change to turbo, which will...
It takes it about a minute or so, and then the fan will kick up higher. You can feel more air blowing. So if you want it to warm up a little quicker, I did that the other day, actually. I'm like, I felt a little chilled, so I turned on the turbo, and it actually pushed out a lot more hot air. It brought it up 3 degrees in like an hour. which by that time it brought up 3 degrees. I was working out here and it was too warm, so I turned it back down.
Working. It's weird. We're talking about first world problems here, guys. Where we're in a situation where the man cave has to be heated when it's, right now it's 12 degrees outside. Well, maybe not 20 degrees outside, and it's been getting down into single digits. Like last time it was like 10 or 9 degrees. 10 degrees is 2 digits. Sorry. I will say there's one problem with the Mr. Cool heater, at least in my opinion, is it's not very well designed for men who don't have patience, because we had some problems to begin with where the unit would turn on and it's like, oh, wait, it actually has a boot up time. And we're over here thinking something's wrong with it.
We were sitting there passing buttons on, off, why isn't it working, and going crazy. And then it says, oh, you look at some of the work instructions, which we threw away. It said, takes about 3 minutes for it to cycle and get it, get things underway. And once we waited, it worked just fine.
Patience. There's time for those. Now we broke it.
Oh, now it's moving. Prepare for takeoff. The little vent thing does some neat stuff.
Technology. It's kind of controlled by aliens, I think.
Yep.
Oh, there's turbo.
Yeah.
Now she's really going.
Now the fans are blowing. Can you hear it?
Can you hear it?
Probably not. But the fan's probably doubled in output now.
Yeah. So really, at this point, we're running in turbo. It's going to be running at its least, or its most power consumption, which still is
doesn't exceed 1,800 watts.
Yeah, and 1,800 watts is very low considering the low setting on that guy.
It's 5,000.
It's 5,000.
Yeah.
So, in general, he's been leaving it on high. So it just gives you an idea. And I think you can kind of hear the fan outside kick on.
Yeah, it's got a heat pump condenser unit outside. It's mounted to the back of the building. And I've got it hooked to the building, and you can hear just barely through the wall in the building. Now I got 6-inch thick walls here. And but before, I couldn't record anything in the building in videos without having that fan noise in the background. Now you don't even know it's running.
Yeah, it's a pretty drastic difference as far as sound is concerned. And that's, as a content creator like ourselves, or, that's important so you can actually hear yourself think and you guys can hear us. Because, these little thingy-majiggers we have in front of us do help, but if there's a lot of background noise, you're kind of in trouble. Not to mention the fact when Michael sits out here and has conversations with himself, he can hear himself talk. Or maybe when him and I are talking, we don't have to scream at each other. So one of the biggest reasons, I was looking at getting one of these from my shop and was pointing out to Michael how efficient this type of electric heat can be. So obviously, we're talking 2 different technologies when it comes to heat throughout this video. You have an induction style heater, which basically heats up some fins, blows air across it, and results in a temperature change, temperature rise in the input versus output. The Mr. Cool unit uses a heat pump inverter technology, basically, where it's, I don't know how it works, but it uses like unicorn dust and something, and outside with some fans and pumps, and turns the Freon into such a situation where it produces heat from the cold air outside. And what's nice about this style of unit as well is you also can use it for cooling. So more or less, it's a one-stop shop for you. Unless you get to extremely cold temperatures, it's going to do a good job for you to keep your space warm.
20 degrees, it starts to lose its efficiency. -5 is when it just stops.
That makes more sense. I mean, the bigger picture here is that's why he left that electric heater there, because we're here in the Midwest in Iowa, where the temperature is kind of, we have really some pretty big extremes, 100 degrees in the summer and -20 in the winter. Usually it's only for about a week or so. And the point I'm getting at with some of this is that these 2 different technologies are both do produce the heat that you need, but the Mr. Cool unit's going to do it for a much more affordable cost. What I will tell you is it's going to cost at least 1/3 as much to run this unit as it would to run that Dynaglow or even that King Electric model that I have. The King Electric model is, I would say, it's more eco-friendly because it does adjust the power bands automatically to use the lowest wattage possible. But at the end of the day, it's still using what watts are required to maintain that temperature, which Michael basically sets his on high, and when it's running on high. The big picture here I'm trying to share with you folks is I want to give you guys someone else's opinion versus mine. And Michael's been a proponent of this style of heat. He does have natural gas here at his house as a primary source of heat for his home. But to get that out here and to run a gas furnace, you're talking trenching gas lines, worrying about exhaust vents. The gas situation, it's really a hit or miss situation because a lot of times in the winter here, if you're running natural gas, they'll have I can't think of what the term is for it, but they'll have an extra charge for when it's super cold out. Then you might find out that your gas actually costs you 3 times as much as what it would have before. But electricity is not cheap either. And I'm guessing if you were to do an apples to apples comparison in this situation out here, it'd probably be a wash. Now you can get a little higher BTU units for a cheaper price out of a gas ran furnace. But I can't speak for Michael, but I just don't like the idea of a gas heater in a shop, especially when you're dealing with things that are flammable. This type of stuff can prevent you from having an issue. Now, if Michael's using brake cleaner or something that's flammable. So anyways, I guess, Michael, what's your opinion so far? I know you've only had this Mr. Cool unit for about, what, 2 weeks now?
2 weeks. I'm tickled with it for 2 reasons. I come out here yesterday morning, it was 11 degrees outside. I look at my thermostat on the wall, and it still said 60 degrees out here. It said 59. On days when it's 40 to 50 degrees, it'll say 62 to 63. So it's holding a 3-degree range really easily.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, really, when you talk about the sound difference and the cost difference, right?
Yeah.
And it's not hurting the pocketbook.
No, this one here, I anticipated it. I got it on sale for $200 off for what they were asking. This is by the way, this is a 110 unit. This isn't your 220 unit. This is a 110 unit, and it's at its limits as this size of shop and what it could heat. This is probably at the outer edges easily enough. But I've also got 6-inch thick insulated walls. I do have 5 windows on here they are thermal pane windows. They're not high dollar windows, but it's keeping up. And we had 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts for an entire day. It was ridiculous, and it kept up. Yeah. And we took the thermal gun earlier, and we shot it at the garage door. We shot it at the workbench. We shot it at different things around the shop, and everything in the shop was 60 degrees. Yep. So it's doing the job.
It's really quite impressive, honestly. And this is one of the situations where technology is advancing. And he pointed out the point. He pointed out that the electrical consumption is at 110, so you can basically rob off any plug-in if you had to run power for this. You don't have to run any special large gauge wire. You can use just your standard 12-2 wire on a 20-amp circuit. That's the minimum. You could run a 10-gauge wire on a 20-amp circuit to give yourself the same breaker protection, but that's just the minimums. The other thing that's also interesting is the fact that you can install it yourself. This one was a DIY unit, and a lot of these mini splits you can't do that with. It's set up very well for Mr. Cool. I believe he bought this from Costco, and it was a good deal at the time. You can pick this up at other types of big box stores, but you just plug it all together, really plug and play, drill a hole in the wall, hook the wires in, crack a few valves, and it's done.
Even if it wasn't on sale, it would have been a good deal. It would still pay itself back in less than a year over this, because there again, this is heating and cooling. Yeah. I had a 12,000 BTU air conditioner that I cooled the shop down in the summertime, then have this joker in the wintertime. So
there's a good possibility that he's going to be, we'll have to look and see how this goes, but mathematically, if you look at it, he'll be able to heat and cool his shop basically for what it cost him to heat for really probably 3 months with that heater, just because of the efficiency differences. And, also talking about the reduced efficiency and its heat output, and its sizing for the space. This is sized for 500 square feet. And again, that's to run optimally. This is larger, 24 by 30, you have to do the math, but I know 24 by 24 is just under 600 square feet. But my point is that he's not trying to keep this at 75 degrees like you would in a house. If it gets to a point where it only is 50 out here, it's not the end of the world. He wants to keep stuff above. The main goal is to keep stuff from freezing and to be able to work out here comfortably. If he just didn't have to if he had to wear a long sleeve Hawaiian shirt instead of a short sleeve Hawaiian shirt, probably wouldn't be the end of the world. I wanted to give you guys that feedback. Really the big picture here is neither one of us are sponsored by these companies. Bought it with our own money. King Electric did send me mine that I talked about here earlier in the video, but I did buy the very first one myself. So the Eco 2S Plus model that I have was provided, but the other one I bought with my own cash at Menards. And I'm a believer, so when they approached me to try out the new model, I'm like, why wouldn't I? Because Michael's just like I am. We're not going to endorse something that we don't believe in. And, if I'm trusting my garage to be heated with something, and, I have a lot of valuable things in it that can't freeze, it just kind of goes to show that the proof's in the pudding in that situation. And I'm not trying to bias one person to one thing or another. Whether or not you want to use a cheaper heater. This on sale was around $1,200.
$1,200. $1,286, and they shipped it right to my house.
Yeah, so all I had to do was
I didn't
pick
have
the
to go
box
get it or
up and.
nothing. Now you can step up to the 220 model. I think it's $1,800, but it also is has more output.
It's a higher
It's
BTU,
like
yeah.
18,000 BTU versus this is only 12,000 BTU.
Yep, and that's the other thing. There's Dynaglow. I think they're around $250,
Yeah.
$200.
Something like that.
But again, you kind of get what you pay for. It works. I mean, I'd say it's probably more of a crude, basic
Yeah.
model. I don't know how else
It's
you would
better
word it.
than a salamander heater.
Yeah, and it's better
It's
than,
quieter than a salamander heater, but
Yeah.
not by a lot.
and it's probably safer as
It's
far
safer.
as
You
the
don't
smell.
no fumes.
Fumes. And that's the thing. Really, both of these units are safe. I will say, and this is just my opinion, I feel like the Mr. Cool heater does look a little more aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it just looks nicer. It kind of just hangs out on the wall, does its own thing. Has all the filters up underneath of the front hood. I'm not going to bother opening that for you guys. What I will do, though, is I'll put down in the description a link to Michael's video that he did on this, talking about how he put it together, the different materials he used outside. It's a really nice little install. It's the most detailed version because that's not what the point was. He wanted to give you kind of a different perspective on it for doing it. And I mean, you did all of the install yourself. Did you think it was relatively easy?
It was really easy. And luckily, Kyle's being modest when he said he came over to help me a little bit. He actually helped me quite a bit. Getting this up in here was the easy part. Wrestling the rest of it out there and having somebody to help you do some wiring and do some lifting and stuff, it helps a lot. With two people, one person can get it done for sure, but two people definitely doesn't hurt.
Because you'll be if you don't have somebody else helping you, I guarantee you'll be like myself and questioning why everything has to be so hard. Because then you're dropping things, losing screws, probably lose a big toe in the.
And there's tons of videos out there on these things. This is a Generation 4. There's Gen 2 and 3 videos out there. This is a Gen 4. And they have all these videos that are be 8 to 12 minutes that'll show you how to install these. I encourage you to watch it. They even have a QR code when you buy it that scans this and says, watch this video and follow it to install. My perspective was more of like, what would I do different? Because I watched a whole bunch of other videos as to what would I do different for the piping on the outside? How would I install it? What comes with, what doesn't come with it? So it's a little more detailed that way. But the end result is it's still on your wall and putting out
definitely.
heat or cooled air.
It's crazy because even in turbo mode, it's barely noticeable.
Yeah, it's still very quiet out here.
You
I don't
would
think you
just-
can probably hear it over the mics right now.
I don't think so either. We'll let you guys be the judge of that.
Yeah,
I won't take any more of Michael's time. Thanks again, Michael, for letting me stop over and do all this.
anytime.
Again, just trying to get different perspectives because I've made several different heating videos using electric. And I am interested in using something like this myself. Do it right or don't do it at all, something like that. How they want to word that.
That's right. If you ain't broke, fix it till it is.
Yeah. Hey guys, we do appreciate you stopping into the channel today, watching the video. I will put links down below to both of his channels. We are basically in two spots at once right now. He has the backyard marina, Michael's backyard marina, and Michael in the backyard. He does all sorts of fun stuff. A lot of good boat content and a lot of good fun work with the in the backyard channel where he does, whether he's doing some stuff with his backhoe. He's also got a little dump truck that looks like a little Tonka truck. That's kind of cool. I mean, basically, if a guy has something broke or needs to break it, he does it on the other channel. He focuses on the backyard marina piece with a lot of, I would say, more vintage, older style.
70s, 80s boats, outboards.
So check his channel out. It's always fun to watch. And if this guy doesn't entertain you, then you guys you're in the wrong place.
Check your pulse.
He's. You can tell by his shirts that he wears this every day, and it's not just.
I should have put on my clean bibs for this interview.
All right, thank you all for stopping in. We do appreciate you all. I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll see ya. All right, now we can go do something else. Great.